Hello everyone and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. Now I know what you're thinking. PFT, why are you driving an aerodynamic truck with super singles of all? Well, now that will become apparent in just a little while here. Alright, as many of you know, SES recently released a new DLC called the Heavy Cargo Pack, as you can see. I have purchased this on opening day because it has some really cool cargoes and, you know, beacons and all kinds of other cool stuff. But in this update, they did a couple other things. I think they added some transmissions. I'll talk about that more later. But they also added, you'll see it here in just a moment. All right, got this big milling machine headed for Yuma, Arizona. I believe that's simply machine weight, which is 97,000 pounds. Funny thing to have the heavy cargo here at the scraper that only weighs 90 instead of 97, but whatever. We're going to take this job, and then you get this menu telling you how suitable your truck is. This is going to be a rant video, by the way. How suitable your truck is to doing various things. So, I went out and I got this truck, which I nerfed as hard as I could for heavy cargo. Not quite as hard. I actually went with the pack car 405 with 1450 torque instead of the ISX-12, 370 with 1350 torque, just so I wouldn't be bashing Cummins the whole way. So we have a little more hills traversal, I think maybe uneven terrain, and also heavy cargo. I'll go into this more deeply here in a little while. But before that, I would like to just show how terrible of a representation. Well, actually, I'll be telling you how terrible it is later. For now, I want to actually prove it. So we are going to pull this 90,000 pound beast with a tiny little worthless pack car, making 1450 torque and barely 400 horsepower. A horrible Allison, the 6-speed with that does not have very low gears. A 6x2. So we only have that front axle driving, which apparently is so terrible for hauling heavy things. I'm not sure. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense. You'd have, well, heck, I'm not really sure. I don't want to say too many things. But that way you'd have two axles to deliver the power instead of just one, which possibly could overheat when you're putting this much weight behind it. Now, I've done this a little bit. I actually pulled Scraper a little bit with my W9, just testing it out as soon as it was released. Now we're going to see if this actually works. Now, I didn't say it's gonna survive the trip, but guess what? We actually drug it straight out of the bottom end. Of course, this is flat level ground, and it's an automatic transmission. What the heck? It should have a torque converter. We can let that thing slip all day long. They wants me to go through town. Morons. Alright, I'm not sure I want to bore you guys this whole time. You know, I actually have not seen that back little, I call it a pusher set, but I have not seen it do. Okay. Like I said, I only pulled that scraper a little bit, and it only has the triple axle lowboy with the Jeep up front. So we will see. No retarder either, but the Jake brakes are pretty strong, so yeah. Get out of the way, Caddy. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bore you guys with my pointless conversation for this whole run. So I think I'll just see you guys when we get a little ways down the road. We'll probably do accelerated for most of this. I should still have plenty of fuel. I want to pull over a scale, whether that be a scale at a truck stop to check the weight, or something more like... Oh wait, I need to turn them beacons on. Oh wait, they were on. What the deuce? Oh, look, a train. To see how heavy this thing actually is, because I'm not sure what the truck is. I know my W900, I think the W9 is 20,000 pounds-ish, and it says this is a 97,000 pound load, and I think that's just the cargo itself. That does not include the trailer. This is obviously not a lightweight setup. So we will see what's going on. Rev that little pack car out. It's also good I have the tiny little aero truck so I can make these turns. Now, I did not say this is going to be a quick trip because I'll probably end up doing... I might be lucky if I'll do 55, but we will see. We will see. So I'll see you guys down the road. And of course, lots of the quibbles that I have are just over this whole truck analysis, suitability thing. I actually really love the cargo. I'm really excited about the actual game changes, the game mechanics that have been introduced with the pivot point, with the multi-pivot point here, and especially with that whole the Jeep up front. This could unlock for the modders. Or hopefully, which I would really like, it would be a DLC with potential for Super Bs and long A trains, and some of the other updates that are made. I really the DLC looks great. I think it's not a bad price at all for the things you get. And I'm really excited for the core game changes that they've made and the things that could lead to in the future as well with the other updates and things that have been added to the game at the same time of release. So if I start bashing a little bit too hard, just remember that it's mostly that whole truck analysis thing that I dislike. Everything else looks good. We're pulling into Yuma just as the sun sets. Let's see if we can... Okay, that was not that bad. At least going up there with a running start was not too bad. I think I know how I'm supposed to get in here. Knows where my delivery point actually is. I can do anything. Wow. Wow. First time I actually delivered something like this. Let's just do this. Okay, that should not be too bad. If I don't, like, slam this thing on something. Am I touching something? I hit the curb. Oh well. Tiny aero truck away! Whoops. Oh boy. Someone mentioned that it would be so difficult to back one of these things in. In reality, what they would do now, I'm not sure why I have it here, they detach the neck right here. That's possible to see, or for me to point, but they detach the neck, they drop the trailer, detach the neck. I'd pull away with the Jeep and that neck, which is actually a cheater neck. You can see it's got that seam there. It has 2 kingpins down there. You would, yeah, like I was saying, you'd unhook the neck, pull away with it, they drive the machine off. You then back this dolly onto, how exactly, oh, I'm sorry, I'm hitting my mic. I'm not sure exactly if you'd load the pushers on or the dolly or both or how you would do it, but generally they'd load pieces of this onto the main lowboy. Sometimes they would not. Flip that cheater neck back to where you're hooking onto that rear kingpin, and just hook that on the tractor and drive off empty. What? Was that not? That problem. There. Now, where you people want this thing? Did I pull forward just a hair too much? There. Happy now, guys? Excellent. With a terrible heavy haul truck. And it worked all right. Now I'll have to put it under a little more extreme circumstances to be sure. So I'll be back with this here. What? Now magically this cargo is heavy and this one is not? Before that was reversed, but I think, you know what, it has something to do with which one you had set for GPS. That's my guess. Okay, technical and legal limitations? There is no legal anything in the game. You just get tickets. I was really hoping, and I'd love if they added this as an option you could turn it on, to where you'd have to buy permits to haul heavyweight and all kinds of other things, but apparently not. I think we can all agree that these entrance ramps are the steepest things in the game. 2,500 RPMs there. Alright, let's try it. Well, it seems to make it to me. Stop. Let's try from a dead start. This is the lowest gear. And I thought that was going to be something about the engine. Okay. Oh, I see. We're just going to sit here and burn out. Huh. So as long as you don't stop on one of these, you should be in just fine shape. This also gives me the chance to do another interesting experiment. Little 6-speed. Will it fit? Yes, I think it will. How much does the front of my truck weigh? 142,000 pounds. Okay, so what is that? That was 142.5. All right. Now with a full tank of fuel, we're 142.5. So they did not factor in fuel. That's actually a big deal. You got to watch how much fuel you put on and where you put it. Well, not so much where you put it, but you got to watch how much fuel you put on and where you put in that fuel to make sure you're not overweight. Alright, so let's give this another try. So we're fully on the grade. Stop. See if we can do it. Yes. The answer is yes. Let's actually see if we get any wheel spin. We do not. I bet we're still slipping on the torque converter. Maybe not. Alright, so there you have it. Even with this 6-speed, you can pull heavy weight. Now, I understand now why that 6x4 helps. And as a matter of fact, I did a little bit of math. You know what? Let's get out of these people's way. I did a little bit of math. And with gross weight of 143.5 minus 12,000 on that front axle, now you have 8 axles. And you come out with, I believe it is 16,400 pounds for each one of these axles on the tractor and on each one of the trailer axles. So, let me put it this way, I really doubt that you'd be able to spin tires like that with 16,000 pounds on it. Of course, I don't know. It might be possible. It's probably, in my opinion, it's probably just a problem with the game. Alright, so interesting discovery. I decided just to give this a test, and it turns out with an 18-speed, same engine, and same 6x2 chassis, you can actually, well, is there a better view to showcase this? Start to move just a very little bit. Let me actually show you. So we're neutral. I got the differential lock on, which it turns out it actually... Okay, now I have the differential lock on. It turns out it is actually a fully locking main differential. So we're going to put it in gear. And apparently, I guess since you have a lower gear ratio, it can pull it up to a higher RPM and do more of a burnout, therefore allowing you to put more, I don't know. But apparently this actually works, sort of. So, yeah, I have some climbing to do. Also, in all reality, after spinning your tires here for just actually not that long, they would heat up and you'd get more traction, so this is very inaccurate. Also, there's another potential problem with this 6x2 chassis. If you might be picking up or dropping off in a dirt lot or doing something else unusual like that, and I think this will be more prevalent with the higher horsepower engines and more like 18 speeds and 13s and whatnot, or real transmissions. There's a possibility with a 6x2 to actually do quite a bit of a burnout like that, because you got so much more power and also lower gear ratios. I think if you're careful and you just kind of really ease into it and try and grab gears that way. This is where an 18 speed would be handy, to where you can make those small jumps to keep you prevent you from spinning. So there's just another thing you need to be aware of. Something else they added in this update was something I've been really looking forward to, or wishing they had for a very long time, and that is equal engines. Because let's face it, why would the W900 have a 600 horse ISX15 while all the other trucks only have a 550 horse? Which actually the 550 is also available in 2050 torque and vice versa. But now we finally have 600 horsepower in both aerodynamic trucks. That's the wrong button. In both aerodynamic trucks, we can get the big 600 horse. Now, also, I've noticed that the Peterbilt now also has the C15 Caterpillar, because both the 389 Pete and the Kenworth W900 actually were available at one time with that C15 Caterpillar. I'm not sure exactly when Cat quit making their engines. I know they did have a 2008 EPA compliant engine, which would be the C15 A-Cert. The serial prefix, I think, was SDP. I've heard that said that it was the worst, one of the worst diesel engines ever made. But that doesn't matter. In game, they're all reliable and great. But finally, we have a more equal playing field. All the engines can have the 2050 torque, and that's the only thing that matters. Everything else is just to entertain you. I wonder if they actually do a torque curve. Like some have, 1,200 RPMs. Some have 900. I would like to know if they actually did something like that. But oh well. I'm just so glad that they now have these more engine options. Like, where is it now? You can get the 550 1850 torque, and also a 550 1850 Caterpillar and an 1850 Pack car with a little Also a 500 horse 1850 Cat at a lower level. Annoying thing is that Cummins also offers a 500 horsepower 1850 torque, but they neglected to add that. There's so many different ratings for these engines. It gets almost confusing. But I'm glad they finally did that. They also added some more transmissions. I don't recall seeing this one before. Also the 7-speed, I think that's new. I also feel as if I think they added a new picture because that all looks very funny to me. What was this little trailer doing, this little pusher set? Okay, it does not like that. It does not like that at all. I think SCS still has a little bit more work to do on that. And I'm told if people that mod this and actually add a lot more weight, I'm told it acts much worse. So hopefully SCS will be able to work out any kinks with that, and we can get some really cool double trailers going, or maybe even full-on road trains.